Hi folks, this is Tony for A Minute to Midnight with just a short update today, though I think it's kind of important what I do want to share. Please remember to subscribe to us at aminutetomidnight.com and remember that we are run 100% by donations, and if anyone is able to help, that would be much appreciated at the moment. You can do that at aminutetomidnight.com if you do want to help through donating to us. So the first thing I want to just briefly mention, and I'm sure a number of the listeners will probably be aware of this, but there will be many that are not aware of it. There was in April 2024 a report, which should be kind of shocking to people what this report is, a federal report that simulates a July 4th 2025 bioterror attack. Now, that's a very specific date. And if any of you know with Event 201 before COVID, how it played out exactly, how they simulated it, not necessarily suggesting that this will play out how they simulated it, but I think it's important that people are aware of it in case they do happen to pull something similar out, even if it's not on July 4th. But in April 2024, the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense released the National Blueprint for Biodefense, immediate action needed to defend against biological threats. It's a little known but deeply alarming federally commissioned report. So it simulates a bioterror attack on 4th of July 2025, which is just a few days away, using a genetically engineered Nipah virus that it's supposed to kill, according to the simulation, 280,000 Americans in a single day, that's July 4th, and devastates livestock. The virus has a supposed mortality rate of 40% in that simulation. And, as I said, just before COVID-19, they had that Event 201 simulation. And, this is a similar type of thing. So I just want to read part of it. It is a 177-page report titled The National Blueprint for Biodefense. It details all the people that are in it, some nefarious people in it. But I just want to skip down to page 9, the scenario. The following hypothetical opening remarks by the chair of a congressional joint inquiry provide the context for this report by portraying a biological attack sufficient to cause the catastrophic consequences warned of by the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense. The scenario describes how a biological agent could target humans and animals, how it could emerge some of the key interagency capabilities required to address the agent and its impacts, and the consequences of failure. So I'm reading directly from the report. Joint inquiry into administration and congressional actions before and during the bioterrorist attacks of July 4th, 2025. U.S. House of Representatives Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Chair. I call this first hearing of the joint inquiry to order. 9 weeks ago, some nation or terrorist group, we still do not know who, attacked the nation's capital and other U.S. cities with biological weapons as we celebrated Independence Day. The infectious agent they used killed at least 280,000 Americans and infected at least 400,000 through the country in a single day, in addition to the 200,000 dead and 800,000 sickened animals. These numbers will increase as the disease spreads. Many of our own colleagues and staff here in Congress fell ill and died. Coordinated attacks in allied nations in the days that followed killed tens of thousands more. We're now hearing that the terrorists conducted smaller-scale attacks in American cities and localities prior to the July 4 incidents to test our defences and gauge our responses. These smaller-scale attacks went largely unnoticed. Laboratory tests confirmed that Nipah virus caused the disease, but we still do not know what methods our adversaries use to infect humans and spread the disease among livestock in rural communities. So I won't read any more. As I say, it's 177 pages long, but you can download it. So it's just called the National Blueprint for Biodefense. We've heard so much over recent years about animal diseases spreading to humans, bird flu and cow flu and you name it. So they're ramping this type of talk up for a new pandemic, whether it's on July 4th or somewhere down the track. There was a simulation called Catastrophic Contagion, which they also used 2025 as the date that was supposed to happen in the simulation. So this year, who knows, but we should be somewhat concerned. Because remember the Deagle report from some years ago? It's no longer up, but where they talked about many countries being the population severely decimated by 2025. America was down to under 100 million people in that Deagle simulation report, and many other countries were similarly decimated. So you've got to ask, well, we know that a lot was happening during COVID and after COVID to prepare for the clamping down and this whole surveillance state and depopulation and all that type of thing. So much that was learnt from COVID, I'm sure they will reapply in whenever the next pandemic is. And we know that the WHO made sure we had a pandemic treaty signed up a couple of months ago. So you have to really question what's going on here. It's not an accident, I don't believe, and I'm sure they have the mechanisms in place now much better for clamping down than they did in COVID, lockdowns, vaccines being determined and all of that. So we've heard for years about sleeper cells in America, and that's report simulated terrorist attacks. So now we have the Israel and Iran war with the US directly involved in it. I mean, the US bombed the nuclear facilities, and you can't say, we don't want war, but we're going to basically bomb something there, but we don't want war. I mean, that is an act of war. So the US is involved in it, and obviously Israel and Iran. So who knows exactly what's going to happen there, but could you imagine Iranians and their proxies being blamed for a scenario like that bioterror attack in America? I certainly can. I'm not saying that's the only possible explanation, because there are plenty of other ones, but that could be definitely one that they could pull out, like the card they could pull out to blame it on Iran. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but we should all be aware that this is out there, this report. And if you also remember with this war in Israel and Iran, you go back to retired General Wesley Clark, who revealed in 2007 on Democracy Now! To Amy Goodman in an interview. It's retired General Wesley Clark, who worked for the George Bush and Dick Cheney. I shall just quote what he said back then. We're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. So that didn't happen in 2007. Many of those countries did, but now, are they going after Iran? And Donald Trump even has suggested regime change as a possibility to make Iran great again. So whatever the situation that's going to occur in this war, and of course you've still got the Ukrainian war going on as well, I think we are in for a really, really rough ride for the rest of this year. And who knows exactly where it is going to culminate. Could be World War III. Let's hope not, but it's definitely on the cards. So I just want to finish by reminding people, please keep your lives right with the Lord. Be really vigilant in your prayer life and reading the Word, but also do whatever preparations you can. I know we're limited in terms of what we could do if a scenario like a bioterror attack occurs and all that. But I still think preparing as best as you can is a good idea with whatever you can do, with food and water and medical things stocked up and a place to go if necessary. Whatever the preparations you make is up to you. But I do think, just again, I like to sort of reiterate to people to be prepared to survive for a period of time where there's utter chaos, and that you have food and water and other necessary things on hand. That's probably where I'll leave it for this short episode today. I've got limited ability to record at the moment, and so I've got to keep this one short. I'll be heading back to New Zealand back in a couple of weeks, where I'll be able to get fully back into the swing of things again, but I'm still in the US at the moment. So God bless and God willing, we will be back in a few days' time with another episode.